Hi, and a warm welcome to all our viewers and listeners around the world. Today, I'm very excited, and yeah, of course. Today our guest is the one and only Kimberly, and first of all, thanks a lot, ma'am, for coming in my studio and
My
giving me your
pleasure.
precious time.
My chicken is
So,
happy to
thank
be
you very
here.
much.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, can you give your short intro so our
Oh,
audience know
sure.
more about you?
Sure. Thank you. I live in Silicon Valley. I grew up in rural Western Pennsylvania. I always wanted to be a scientist when I was a kid. I loved science and physics, and I had an Alka-Seltzer powered rocket and a chemistry set. Then I finally was able to get money to go to college by joining the military and serving in the U.S. military Air Force for 3 years. I have a marksman's ribbon. I'm a good shot. Thank goodness I never had to kill anybody. And then I went to college for 7 years. Then I worked at Hewlett-Packard for 10 years at 7 different jobs: engineering, product development, program management, hardware, software, firmware, mass spectrometers. Then I worked in 3 failed startup companies and in Silicon Valley. And then I started my own business. And now mostly I'm facilitating workshop learning labs, strategic planning, scenario planning, primarily for global companies or big companies who are committed to transforming managers into leaders, groups into real teams, and using design thinking and innovation to transform their businesses. I'm especially interested in helping with corporate sustainability. That's my new focus. It's very exciting.
Uh, I think that's a wonderful intro from you. So, my first question is how how can global teams overcome cultural communication gaps?
Oh, yes. Well, first of all, you have to get to know each other. You know what would really help? Just have dinner together. Sit down and eat together and have some fun and go outside and play, swim in the lake, swim in the ocean. I did that last month with one group of business people. They work for this big Japanese global business company. It was like 16 people from 8 different countries. And we went out to the beach in Chicago and we did some exercises, leadership exercises on the sand. Then they went swimming and one guy let them bury him in sand. So have some fun together. And then once you also, the most important thing for communication is you got to speak global English. Sorry, I was talking too fast. We've got to speak slowly. We've got to make clear, use more body language, more facial expression, more tone of voice than normal to help each other understand. Pause. Sometimes people need to translate or use AI translation tools. Make it easier.
Exactly, ma'am. So, my next question related to business, and my question is what are some common myths about international businesses?
International businesses. Can you say that a different way? Sorry, I want to make sure I answer the right thing.
Okay, so I want to do business, and my aim is to do business all over the world. So I want to get some tips from you.
Do business all over the world. Wow. Well, I love how you're thinking globally. And I say, think globally, start locally. So start working where you are, get some experience, and then expand regionally and prove that your concept is scalable to the region, and then experiment with some global options. If you start to go global immediately, then it's like, what? You have to build relationships, build trust, build a good reputation. And you can do that best with people who know you, who love you, who support you. So think globally, start locally. That's what I would say, starting with.
Okay, so my next question from you is can you tell us about your journey of founding Wiefling consulting?
Oh my gosh. Well, it happened very suddenly because there was a big economic collapse in Silicon Valley in particular because there was all kinds of hype about startups and suddenly it just collapsed. So I said, "Yay, why don't I start my business in the worst possible time?" And so I just reached out to a bunch of people that I knew here locally. And I said, let me do some consulting for you in exchange for your feedback on my consulting and refer me to other people who might be able to help me. And I don't know, it's started from there where I just did some coaching, some consulting, and then I did some workshops and people started to say, wow, you're really good at this. And so then I'm like, okay, refer me to other people. And then I got referred to other people. And then I got discovered by these visiting groups from Japan who said, whoa, what you're doing is really cool. We need you. So they started inviting me to go to Japan to do some workshops there. And then they started selling me into all of their clients in Japan. So now I've worked with over 50 global Japanese companies, including Suntory, Yamaha Motors, Mazda. It's crazy, right? So it's amazing. And I have a team. I don't do it by myself. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, okay. So my next question is, what inspired you to move from engineering to leadership development?
Great question. Um, well, I was super smart and I was really good at getting stuff done, but I wasn't very good at communicating with human beings or being kind. And so I could get things done, but not always in a way where people would like working with me. And sometimes they would be like, okay, maybe they never want to work with me again. So I finally realized, oh my God, I was focusing only on results, but I need the relationships to get the results. So I experimented with building relationships, building trust, connecting with people, and getting the results through that. And guess what? It worked really well. And then I'm like, oh my God, they never teach us anything about communication or human skills in engineering and science, when you're studying engineering and science, at least when I was studying. So I said, okay, I know that my friends call these things touchy feely crap, but this is why teams are failing. So we need to get better at it. So I just started to shift more in terms
Yeah.
of human skills because you can get better results by focusing on relationships with people and your team.
Okay, that's great to know. Okay, ma'am, you say that you go Japan, so my next question is from that topic. So my question is, have you worked with women leaders in Japan? So how was that experience?
Oh, I work with all kinds of leaders from Japanese companies, not just from Japan. So the Japanese company I'm working with a
Oh,
lot these days has business in 45 countries. Another one has business in 40 countries. When I worked with Yamaha Motors for 10 years, they did business in 110 countries. But when I work with Japanese people, it is so cool because I connect to them as global people from Japan, human beings from Japan. If I put them into the category of Japanese person, sometimes I may, I don't know, stereotype them. So my focus is how to see them as a human being and then understand they're from Japan and that there's many different kinds of Japanese people, just like there's many different kinds of people from America. Yeah.
okay, so that's great to know. Okay, so my next question is, how do you think AI and automation will affect leadership roles?
Oh, we're already using AI in my leadership workshops. So I call it coach in your pocket. You can ask it questions you would be ashamed to ask your manager. You can ask for advice before you deal with a difficult situation with your teammates or your colleagues. You can ask it to help you with different scenarios. I have used it to create presentations. So I have used it to have conversations with me to coach me through some things when I'm really upset. So I think that AI can be very handy. Now, if I ask it very specific things like who is Kimberly Wiefling, it's wrong. But if I ask it, how can I be more patient with somebody who has a different way of approaching their work? Or what can I say to somebody who promised to do something but didn't deliver their what they promised on time? And how can I get them to do better at things that so I just use it as a coach in your pocket. Now we are going to be using it more and more because when you have an AI member on a team, the whole team does better. So we want to have at least one AI member on every team.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. So my next question is, what mindset should companies adopt to stay global competitive?
Uh, Mindset should be that keep in mind Motorola had 52% global market share when it was dominating the global market for phones. 7 years later, it was 2%. Nothing is guaranteed. Always be looking at Horizon 1, keeping your business running, and Horizon 2, do it better, do it faster, do it cheaper, do it more creatively, incremental changes. But also Horizon 3, 10x, moonshot. What would your competitors do to put you out of business if they wanted to? So I think it's important to keep these three horizons in mind. And number one priority is Horizon 2, better, faster, cheaper, always be improving. Number two priority, weirdly enough, is the moonshot, disruptive changes, how to disrupt your own business, right? Like companies that make records should have made CDs for music, and people who made CDs should have made digital music, but they don't. They get put out of business. And then the last priority, although it's important, is Horizon 1, operating your day to day business. This comes from the Chasm Institute. Chasm model, Jeffrey Moore, very famous.
Okay, so my next question from you is, can you tell me that how does sustainability fit into your consulting work?
Oh my gosh, it's core now. Sustainable corporate sustainability is key to increasing the ability of companies to continue to do business. If we don't have a sustainable future for planet Earth, there's no profit in the future. There's no stock price value. We must find a way to make a sustainable future for planet Earth if companies want to make a sustainable profit and successful business. So I'm looking at making the sustainable option better, faster, cheaper, more fun, more profitable, easier. And I love that. For example, I'll give you an analogy. You want people to drive on a certain part of the city. You make a road, okay? They're going to drive through people's yards or on the sidewalk. If you make the road, it's easier. If you make it easier for people, they'll take the easy path. Or if you want people to take the stairs, instead of riding the elevator, you make the stairs into a piano. So it's fun. They run up and down playing the stair piano. So you got to find ways to make sustainability better, faster, cheaper, easier, more fun, more profitable. And if we don't do it, well, there's no business future. The World Business Council for Sustainable Development, 230 of the biggest companies in the world, has a organization that has 230 CEOs as the members, and they said very clearly there's no profit in a world that's falling apart. So they are committed to finding a profitable way to continue to live on planet Earth in a sustainable way. I love working on that kind of stuff, and I am more and more focusing on corporate sustainability.
That's great, ma'am. So my next question is, Uh, did you ever face like gender bias in your engineering journey?
Of course, when I entered into the world of physics, there were only about 2% women. Oh my gosh. And I was really not welcomed in my graduate school. It was weird. I was struggling so much to understand why, because I loved physics, I loved science. And uh, so I had to, quit graduate school after I got my master's. I stayed one more year, and then I said, okay, I give up. Then I went and worked at Hewlett-Packard as one of the first two women repairmen fixing mass spectrometers and other analytical products. And my colleagues did not like that. And then my customers would call, and I would answer, hello. The customers wanted, to get their instruments fixed, and they would say, I want to talk to someone technical. And then I would say, oh, just a minute. Hello, may I help you? Because they thought I couldn't be technical because I was a woman. And then they spread rumors about me sleeping with my boss, which weren't true. So I had to quit that job and get another job. And then I was, driven out of another job at HP because of my gender. But guess what? Every time I got a better job with a raise and a promotion. So I should say thank you to those people who treated me badly.
Ah, that's wonderful. Uh, okay, so my next question is, what was your biggest personal failure, and how did you bounce back?
Oh, my biggest failure, I think, was when I dropped out of graduate school. I was so depressed because it was my life dream. I wanted to be a physicist, I wanted to be a scientist, and I was so depressed, like I was a failure. But then I realized now, looking back, wow, I'm having a lot more fun doing what I'm doing now. How did I bounce back? I just, keep going, right? What do they say? When you're a baby and your baby's learning to walk, the baby falls down, they don't just lay there, they stand back up. You keep going. So it's important to, it's important to just fall down 7 times, 8 times, stand up. The Japanese have a saying, Nanakarobi yaoki. 7 times fall down, 8 times stand up, keep going, keep growing. Never give up. Woohoo! And have some friends to help you, have some colleagues, have some advisors, a mentor, someone who loves you and cares about you and can encourage you. Yeah.
Exactly, ma'am. Okay, so my next question is, what role has family support played in your success?
Oh, I don't know. My family, my dad was a welder in the construction industry. My brothers became welders in the construction industry. If I was a boy, I would have been a welder. My dad wasn't going to waste money sending a girl to college, so I left the day I turned 18. And I tried to make my own way in the world. I think my family kind of thinks I'm a little weird and strange, but I think over the years they've come to think, oh, wow, yeah, okay, Kimberly has done some cool stuff. But, they expected me to get married, have kids, and be a normal person. I never had kids. I'm not a normal person. I work all over the world with people from 50 different countries. I wrote a book called Scrappy Project Management that got me invited all over the world to speak in Australia and Asia and Japan and Europe and around the US. I don't know. I'm the most famous Wiefling. And my family was like, yeah, but did you go hunting and did you kill a 17-point buck? If I killed a big deer with a big rack, they'd be so impressed. But they just think I'm weird.
Okay. Okay, so my next question is, what was one unexpected challenge you turned into an opportunity?
Oh yeah. Okay. So whenever the dot-com bust is called, there were all these startups. They were starting and then failing. And I would have one startup, boom, it failed. I got a better job quickly with a higher salary and a higher position. And then that one failed, and then I got an even better job with a higher position and a higher pay at a better company. And so whenever something bad happens, here's what I teach myself to say. What does this crap make possible that would not have been possible before. So when something so-called bad happens, you have to say, is there diamonds hidden in the doggy poop? Is there some upside, some miracle, magic that is disguised as bad luck? You can't tell good luck from bad luck when it's happening, and you just got to say, okay, let's figure out let's mine this for the treasures in here, hidden in the tragedy, like in COVID. Oh my gosh, everything suddenly stopped. All my business was suddenly gone. So I helped my friends pivot to virtual, and we met every week for 70 weeks for 2 hours a week to figure out how to do our consulting and our workshops online. And in 2021, the year after COVID started, my revenues were the same as in 2019, and I never even had to put pants on. Just joking about that. Of course, I wore pants, but I mean, I didn't have to get dressed and I just could be at home and make the same money that I did in 2019 before COVID. Crazy. Huh.
Okay, so my next question is uh, okay, so my next question is, what lesson did you learn while working at Replay TV and Groupfire?
ReplayTV. Wow, I really learned more about working with Japanese because Panasonic was partnering with us at ReplayTV. We were creating the hardware, software, firmware, and they were putting the Panasonic name on this product. And so I really got to experience what it was like to build relationships, build trust, and work as a true team with these Japanese colleagues. And it was the first time I had gotten that deeply involved with the Japanese business culture. And it ended up being tremendous learning opportunity for me and make me appreciating that they were human beings from Japan, and I needed to try to get to know them as people and go out and have fun with them and eat dinner and have a beer sometimes, right?
Okay, so my next question from you is, can you tell me that can you describe one of your most impactful project?
Most impactful, yes. Okay. My most impactful project is I was working with one company that's very, very tough organization. There's really strict command and control. And they had so many people quitting because it's called boss hole behavior. Boss who's a jerk and not very kind and just too bossy. Nobody likes that kind of boss. And so I went in there and I taught these people how to stop being boss hole, how to be more of a leader, like a magnet, that you're like a magnet and you attract people to want to work with you, to care about you, and to willingly join together as a real team. And that really dramatically reduced the number of people quitting from that company. Like it went from over 20% quitting to about 1% quitting of the people who went through my program. And the people who reported to them cut it in half, the people quitting. It was so cool.
Okay, so my next question is, if you had to start your career all over again, what would you do differently?
What would I do differently? I would learn human skills sooner. And I would focus more on building relationships and trust. I would communicate more effectively. And I would ask people for feedback about how my behavior impacted them. That's one of the least practiced of the behaviors of great leaders. And I would be more kind. I thought kindness was weakness, but it's not. Kindness is more effective. And I would, so more kind, more focused on the human skills. And of course, still want to get stuff done with people, not by pushing them, but by pulling them and attracting them.
Okay, so my next question is, if you could host a dinner with any three leaders from history, who would they be?
Oh my gosh. You ask such great questions. My favorite would be first Albert Einstein, of course. I'm a physicist. I love Albert Einstein. Then Winston Churchill. He was, in a very difficult situation during World War II, and he wasn't the nicest person, but he did what he needed to do, whether he felt like it or not. He was did his duty. And then I went to meet with Mahatma Gandhi to find out how can you be so kind to crazy, stupid people.
That's great to know about your favorite
Mm.
leaders. So my next question is, what's your favorite productivity hack or tool?
Productivity tool?
Yeah.
Oh, well, ChatGPT. I use it every day for about, over 2 years now, I guess. I ask it questions every day. I get it to help me think about things, and I research things, and I use it to summarize things or give me ideas. Like I'm going to be working in Frankfurt. How can I integrate AI and ChatGPT into my leadership programs? Or what are the biggest reasons that this company is perceived in this way? And how can we change that to be more positive? So, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I just, yeah, I think it's so important. Of course, translation tools. I work with people from so many different countries. We've got to be able to communicate with each other, and that is so critical. So I use Google Translate or other translation tools, and some of them are real-time translators now. You can actually have it listening to you, and it can tell you real time what the other person is saying. So I'm loving it. I want to get the one where you put it in your ear and it will automatically translate everything for you.
Yes, of course, ma'am. So my next question is, what's a habit or routine that keep you mentally strong?
Oh, okay. So first, I visualize myself being connected to the earth. So I imagine I'm connected somehow to the whole planet. So we're all connected together. And then I visualize myself being connected to the cosmic energy, and that is filling my body with light, brightness, health, and well being. And then I radiate out to the whole world. Hey, there's only one of us. We are all connected. And I share the light with everybody. And I imagine first where I am and then spreading around the continent of the North America, South America, across the oceans to Asia, to Europe, to Africa, to Australia, to Iceland, to Greenland, to the whole world. And I just imagine being connected to everybody, because I strongly believe there's only one of us. And when you go out into outer space, many astronauts have said, hey, when you see that little tiny blue dot hanging in outer space and that's the Earth, you're going, holy cow, we better all stick together and help each other.
Yeah, of course. So my next question is, can you tell me that what do you think that how meditation is important in our lives?
Well, I know that visualization impacts even our body. And so I've actually experimented a little bit with breathing exercises. And if you breathe 4 times a minute slowly for a few minutes, your heart rate slows down. I have one of these little medical tracking rings, so I can tell that works. And you can kind of see what induces stress in your life. But I also read this book called Why Woo Woo Works. And it talks about scientific experiments. Like they had rats that were given water that was made with apple cider flavor, but they put this medicine in that made the blood vessels of the rats expand. And after a couple of weeks, they stopped putting the blood vessel medicine in there. But when the rats would drink the apple cider flavored water, their blood vessels would expand because they had learned that. So our brains are so connected to our bodies. I strongly believe that we need to send messages from our brains, from our thoughts to our bodies to be in healthy, happy, safe, and well, and to spread that well being throughout the whole world. Our thoughts do somehow impact us. I don't know how. I'm a physicist. I don't know how gravity works, but I stick to the earth just fine. So I think it's important, to focus on what you care about. Whatever you think about will get bigger. Think about what you want to create. Don't be thinking about all the bad things, because then the bad things will get bigger. Focus on what's working and what would make them work better. That's what I do in my life. I don't know. That's just my approach. I'm not saying everybody should do it, but if whatever you focus on gets bigger.
Exactly. Exactly, ma'am. You are on the right way, right path. So, my next question is, how do you stay updated with modern management trends?
Oh, well, of course I get some newsletters, and I go to conferences, and I go to professional events in the local area, and I have these little mini AI read books, book summaries on some apps. And I have a lot of smart friends, and I learn from them, and I work with other people in my workshops. Um, yeah, so I think it's just the community that I'm doing business with is just so wonderful at helping me learn and grow. Of course, you always have to study something, look online. You can learn all kinds of stuff just by just browsing the internet, what I call the worldwide waste of time. You can get useful things out of it.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's great. So, I think I take a lots of your time. So, my last question from
Okay.
my last question is, what is one thing people would be surprised to know about you?
Well, surprised to know about me. Yeah, that I am a really good shot. I have a marksman's ribbon. I grew up hunting and fishing and catching animals in the woods, and I was shooting BB guns when I was a little kid. So when I was in the Air Force, I got a little ribbon that says I'm a good shot. But I don't want to kill anybody. But if I need to kill a deer so I can feed my family, I know how to do that.
Okay, so in last, what is one powerful piece of advice you would give to our global audience, especially youth and change makers watching today?
Well, advice is okay, creating breakthroughs and creating amazing things for your life and impossible things. It's a team sport. When someone tells you it's impossible, it means they don't know how yet. Never let people discourage you or kill your dreams. Find people who will support you in your dreams. Keep going, keep growing, never give up. Impossible means I'm possible.
That's a wonderful advice, ma'am. So thank you very much for being part of my today's interview, and I learned a lot from you. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Your questions were so beautiful. Much appreciated to you. All righty.
Thanks,
Take
thanks,
care.
ma'am. Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. So, dear audience, we will meet again soon. So till then, stay tuned with us. Take care of yourself, and Allah Hafiz. Bye bye.
Okay, thanks a lot. You're amazing. Your questions were so beautiful, and I appreciate you quickly adjusting to do this today because someone else who's scheduled from Rehan School didn't show up.
Thanks, ma'am. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
dude. Bye bye. Contact me if
Bye
you
bye.
need any help. I help you. Take
Thank you,
care.
ma'am. Thank you very
Okay.
much. Bye bye.
Okay.